What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the OddsShopper channel, coming to you with a Sunday main slate edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. It is week 9. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me, and this video goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Swept the board for Thursday night football. Thursday night football has been a cash cow on the videos. Now, unfortunately, I added some stuff in tails that I really shouldn't have, although it pops up and hey, you know what? Sometimes you don't get the good end of it. And well, I just try to continually put out the best stuff I possibly can. Obviously, if you saw this video, fantastic. Long term, it's going to work out very nicely there in tails. And well, MLB is wrapped up. NBA, we're in full force. Good start here for Cat in that first quarter against Detroit. I'm all the way in on NBA. I'm all the way in on NFL. I should probably find a better way of saying that. But tails, let's put that on the screen and show the people. You have an opportunity to sign up for free. Yes, for free, by checking out one of our partners here right now. The Lindy 50 is no more. It is kaput. It is gone. But instead of having to pay $20 for a week, instead of having to pay $50 for a month of Lindy's, well, you can get it completely free and some amazing deals with our sponsors. On the left side of your screen, you'll see a bunch of pick'em sites. On the right side, you'll see a bunch of sports books and rebet, kind of a combo of everything, a sweepstakes book where you have an opportunity to play in more than 47 states, including California, IA, rebet, fliff. These are awesome spots to be checking out here if you have other opportunities to be able to get some money down. Plus, we have a bunch of compatibility for all of them because, hey, they're commonplace. They're legal books, and everything that you see on your screen, you can sign up for. And when you send us with these 4 simple steps, a screenshot of your first wager and your first settled bet, email support@oddshopper.com with those screenshots. You'll get me for free. Again, $50 value. Would love to have you guys hanging out for the NFL season and the entire NBA season. But we got week 9. It's kind of the midway point here. It's the exact midway point of the regular season. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. Have a lock for you coming down the pipeline. That'll be fun. And it's an anytime touchdown, which I did not see or forecast here in the data. These are not the droids you're looking for. But hey, let's start it up. We got 13 games. Producer Jacob, Sunday Night Football as well. We'll cover that one in depth. Let's get to the picks. Let's start partying. Miami, 6.5-point dogs heading to Buffalo. And the major news, of course, is that Tua Tagovailoa is back in action. Now, they still found ways to exhaustingly fumble the bag on that one, that's for sure. I mean, what are we even doing here offensively? So many good things that they're able to do with Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle had a couple of big plays that could have worked out in his favor. Jalen Ramsey's been pretty decent in terms of even like run defense this year. I mean, he's been a stopper, like legitimate good things on the defensive end for Miami as well. And yet finding ridiculous ways of losing football games. However, we're seeing the pass play volume start to go up for both these teams, even though Buffalo ran it all over the Seahawks' neck last week. Khalil Shakira found ways of being extremely effective. And that could be very important here because there's 2 pieces of news, and I don't really know the way that it's going to pan out. Normally, I'm on the side of saying, hey, you know, Amari Cooper will definitely play in this spot, but obviously he just got added to this team 2 weeks ago, and he's actually dinged up here in this spot. Curtis Samuel also questionable for this one. If I knew that they were both out, 51.5 number was the number I saw for Khalil Shakira. I think you could probably also just find some reception plus his yardage, maybe a single game parlay where you just say, hey, he smashes, both those guys end up out. In fact, we'll talk about that something later, which I did fire up in tails earlier today. We'll talk about the nuances of it. But as of recording this here, right around 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Friday, I don't have a ton of interest in this football game, and I've been betting Devon Achane successfully the last 2 weeks. We got the anytime touchdown. We got the rushing yard the last 2 weeks, obviously against the Colts. That's useful. Against Arizona, useful. Buffalo, it's a little bit more questionable purely because it's on the road up there. You're not a home favorite like you saw last week against Arizona, even though they lost that game. And Devon Achane, we've seen 25 carries only in the last 2 weeks, despite some smashes by him. This offense is going to be hyper efficient. He added a lot in terms of volume in the passing game. He's basically like a wide receiver 2/3 if you want to put him right behind Waddle, but I mean, 50 yards receiving on 6 catches last time out. The guy's dynamic, helps the team a lot. I think I'll lean Miami plus 6.5, but I'm not going to bet it. And also, Devon Achane, maybe just the 50+ rushing yards, because there's a 49.5 that just showed up on my screen. People have been shorting him here. Again, I don't think there's enough volume. He's been a cash cow despite not enough volume, but we saw that all of last year alongside Tua Tagovailoa, and we've seen it against everybody against Indy. It didn't even matter. It was Tyler Huntley there to start that one off, and then Skylar Thompson, whatever. Probably a pass of a football game, but wanted to give you the information. Yeah, we've got a bunch of leans to start off the program, so I'll speed it up. Denver, Baltimore. We know Baltimore. In terms of like ELO, NFL ELO, something that I really, really like in terms of spread value and looking at points that they should be giving up in specific spots, how much they should be favored. NFL ELO actually prefers the Bills, which is strange to me because I prefer Baltimore between the two. Baltimore did kind of prove an NFL ELO right last time. And again, the data, the modeling, that's going to be something that I rely on a lot more rather than just the eye test or how do I know ball? I think I know ball better than the average Bear or Bronco. But either way, the Broncos are big dogs here and they should be. Bo Nix, we saw against Carolina smash. You know who else smashes against Carolina? Absolutely everyone. We'll talk about that when we get to the New Orleans side, where I kind of found an interesting play for you in that for sure. But as of right now, King Henry, they're going to go back to doing the things, the stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. I know that you're going to have it your way or nothing at all, but I don't think Derrick Henry's moving too fast. He's just moving downhill with a lot of lumber behind him. Obviously 73 yards, only 11 carries against Cleveland. They were a little bit in a come from behind mode, but when you're talking 9.5-point favorites, it doesn't even matter that you know it's going to be Derrick Henry. Baltimore can still move the ball efficiently. I got to be looking here at Derrick Henry and 100+ with a tutty. I think that's kind of the combination of the two. However, there's not a ton of value in it at the moment. And some other props that I think based on injury news, I will want to be reacting to. So there's not a ton to really mine out from this one for me right now. Again, they're 9.5-point favorites at home. His anytime touchdowns have been juiced to infinity and beyond. We've been firing that up, but with Marlon Humphrey, with Jones, questionable here in this one on the defensive side of things, I get a little bit apprehensive that it won't just be like 25 carries of King Henry. I have no idea what to make of this line. This just is like the trappiest thing I've ever seen. The Chargers, Cleveland. Chargers 1.5-point favorites heading into Cleveland here. And I know that defensively, we've seen some really nice things from the Charger side of the ball. And well, when J.K. Dobbins gets it going here, it's going to be very, very scary again because J.K. Dobbins is just a hyper-efficient back. Hasn't been as efficient here in the last couple of weeks, but going back to his Baltimore days, and it's just been an injury deal for him. And now that he's getting some run, you do get that travel from West Coast to East Coast. A lot of people love those trends. I don't really love those trends, but I am going to say that it surprises me to see 1.5 being laid on the Charger side because of what we saw from Jameis Winston. Jameis was the talk of the town, and he should be there, was way better than anything that they've been given from Deshaun Watson. 41 passing attempts, not going to be the norm. 334 yards on 27 completions, 3 tutties to go with it. He only had 8.1 yards per completion, but again, 27 of them, that's a spicy meatball. So I got to just say, there is definitely a ceiling there for Mr. Jameis Winston. 3 tutties, my God, 115.3 passer rating. Across the board, really nice stuff. But I think this is going to help Nick Chubb more than people think. And that's kind of the best companion of a running game is a great passing game. The best companion of a great passing game is a running game. They go hand in hand to a certain extent, just because the play action can be such a volatile, like people talk about 2 high safeties and how the NFL is going towards it. There's actually been more 1 high safeties for the people keeping track at home, just like 53, 54% of that as opposed to 46%. But it also is a down and distance situation. It's also that if you are getting Jameis Winston playing this well, eventually Nick Chubb, as he gets the motor in, what's your price? Sorry, don't mean to sing. Nick Chubb is going to have a lot better than what we've seen so far. 2.7 yards per carry on 27 carries. He's getting the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume. And that's going to create an opportunity at goal line situations where it won't just be Cedric Tillman getting fluky stuff. It's going to be a low variance game to some extent, although 42.5, a bigger total than you would expect with these two defenses. The Chargers getting Quentin Johnston back potentially here in this one looks pretty decent. Ladd McConkey, absolute smash. But Nick Chubb, anytime touchdown. This is the market where if it's going to be plus money, you want to dip your toes. It's oscillating back and forth right now, and I'm having a tough time pulling the trigger, so I'm probably just going to be sitting out here. I'm actually going to update my sheet here for 2 seconds, so bear with me. Phenomena. It's actually not working for me right now. Nick Chubb, I've got my eye on it. You should too. I said I had an interesting one in this, and we do. New Orleans, 7.5-point favorites going up against Carolina, 43.5 total. I'm so confused. Once again, just nothing about the last game made sense, although when I model it out, looks pretty good. This one I actually disagree with. So we're going to be looking, instead of the full game, we're going to be looking at half. We're going to be looking in specifically the first half, where Derek Carr gets back in action for New Orleans. And in a couple of his outings, we've seen a much more hyper-efficient offense. I mean, Rattler goes out there, starts a bunch, gets benched last time out for absolutely, what are we even actually doing here at the quarter position? I mean, they had to put Jake Haener out there, and you don't want to have Jake Haener starting for your football team at this point in time. Maybe it'll be something down the line. Spencer Rattler, though, we can successfully say through 3 games, not looking so pretty for him. Also a rookie, don't want to hit panic. But Derek Carr, we've only seen him for 5 weeks this season. He ends up having that injury against Kansas City. And as such, his oblique sounds like it's all right and ready to rock. And wouldn't you know it, everybody eats against Carolina. He has Alvin Kamara, and he gets Chris Olave back, which is a big deal here as well. That was kind of an issue for them in week 7. Week 8 here comes around. He ends up getting targeted 14 times from the combo of guys. Finally started to see him come alive against the Chargers and try to come from behind mode. But oh boy, we are definitely going to be firing up Derek Carr in some capacity here to put up points. But I know it's Bryce Young on the other side. I completely get it. But despite the fact that he is starting here, and then Canales did not say who was going to start beyond week 9 between him and Dalton. Dalton still with the thumb injury from the car accident that is still so fluky. But I think we're going to get Chuba Hubbard working a little bit here. Jonathan Brooks has been ruled out, so the guy who I'm very excited to see at the running back position, still waiting for his chance. Maybe he doesn't even play this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they put him on bubble wrap coming off of a major injury. He is too dynamic, has looked too good in practice from what I hear. But Chuba Hubbard's been pretty hyper-efficient himself, has been far worse off playing with Mr. Young, but 53.5 was his rushing number. It is now up to 64.5 after news that Brooks was getting ruled out and not going to play here in week 9. I think we see enough points from both these teams early on in this game to make 21.5 in a first half number my premier play from this one. I really like it. It's -110 at BetMGM. I think it's strong considering New Orleans, you should be able to run all over them. Carolina should be able to find some ways to be successful there. Xavier Legette, going to be a wide receiver 1 going out there. If he plays, he's questionable. But this really is about New Orleans. I trust them enough to put up 2 tutties for us in this first half. And then do they run the ball a lot in the second half? I don't know. But I have the first half projected slightly better than the second. Not something that I generally do, but really like this market. To my favorite spread bet of the week, and it is not what you think it is, the Vegas Raiders going up against Cincy, 7.5 points. They are getting 7 in some spots, but this hook, it's probably worth 15 cents to me, which is kind of the going rate here at the moment, -115, where I got this, sitting at -120, best available right now, and I'm still a fan of it. Oh, -118 on FanDuel. Good stuff, and here's why. Cincy will be without T. Higgins. He is doubtful for this football game, and I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat, so bear with me. T. Higgins pushed to get a massive contract here in the offseason, did not get it done. Jamar Chase, it was going back and forth, but T. Higgins ends up getting slapped in the face, in his opinion, of course, with that franchise tag. Had to play this year on it. I think he's not necessarily pushing to play through it here right now, and Cincinnati is now at a crossroads. The NFL pushed back the trade deadline 1 week. I think there's an outside chance that a contender is going to make a big push for T. Higgins to come and be on layaway from Cincy, because Cincy, they have put themselves behind the 8 ball. They have games against Baltimore still waiting. They have games on the road against the Chargers. They have a ton of teams in the early going. They basically have to run the board or go 7 of their last 9, I believe is what Joe Burrow said specifically. T. Higgins is a huge deal because in terms of EPA, expected points that we're looking at here, with T. Higgins on the field this season, Cincinnati would grade out as the #1 offense in football. Without him, and this is from Bill Barnwell at ESPN, I want to attribute this because this is not my own thought. It was simply going through it, and, well, I've got it in my notes section. They're 27th in the NFL. If you just look at EPA, it's actually a negative side of things. That is not what you're looking for. And so Jamar Chase, while this opens up looks for him, well, I'm sure people are going to look at his anytime touchdown and receive. Don't do it, because he's not going to be as hyper-efficient without T. Higgins out there. You just saw Cincinnati get slapped around. Their defense has been playing better, and I actually have some confidence in that to be all right here against Vegas. But Jacoby Myers plus Brock Bowers, I think their passing game is still decent enough where you're getting this kind of a number at the moment, 7.5. I have to take shots here with Gardner Minshew and company at this type of a number. Plus 7.5. That hook is very, very important, obviously. If you get this at 7, make it minus 105 or better, and I'd be okay with it too. But I love the Vegas Raiders against Cincy. It's a different football team. Yeshivas, Mike Gesicki having to play a lot in the slot and potentially be a wide receiver 2 of sorts. I know he's a tight end, but Vegas, I think they get it done and get the cover. And you can be covered by Bet365 if you're in one of these 11 states by betting $5, getting 200. Which states are those, of course? Producer Jacob, we got it on the screen. Colorado, Louisiana, Virginia, Kentucky, New Jersey, Arizona, Ohio, Iowa, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Take your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. It's only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But for the people, bet 5, get 200 at any one of these states. I'm here. I'm here. Patrick Mahomes. I'm here. Sorry, back to the picks. And we're here. Washington taking on the Giants. And boy, oh boy, I not like anything in this one. 45 is a big, big total. But Washington, I think their defense is playing a lot better than it feels like the books do. I've been staring at this one for a while, and I reran it a couple times. Jaden Daniels looked all right to me. It was nice to see him running right from the gate with this rib injury in that last outing. And, of course, just the ridiculousness that was the Noah Brown catch, the Hail Mary, herd round DC. It was fun. But, yeah, Washington Capitol, the Commanders, I think defensively have been starting to bring it a little bit. But those are outings against Chicago. We've seen how much they've struggled with Caleb Williams here in his first season. Carolina, they've really struggled with, well, pretty much everybody, the one W that they got on the year. But Baltimore, they played pretty decent against Baltimore, even though they got 30 points hung up on them. You know who else is going to get hung up 30 points against Baltimore? Lots of football teams, probably Denver even, alive for it this week. I mean, it's a very good football team, despite some catastrophic losses at the end of games. Cleveland and for sure that Vegas one. But the Commanders, I think basically Daniel Jones, is this the start where the tipping scales, like if he has a bad start against Washington with the defense and the perception of them, I think you're going to get some really loud music. And it's not just Brian Daboll that gets to make these decisions. I mean, it's a front office. It's the Moras. They have lots of people behind the scenes that are going to be making the shots on whether Daniel Jones can be out there for the foreseeable future. I think that there's some contract stipulations too, and some insurance money that comes back their way if something happens. So yeah, they're going to keep rolling out Daniel Jones, I think. But still, Drew Lock is a very serviceable backup and probably an upgrade for guys like Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson. Those are guys who are getting open and guys who have been doing really, really nice in terms of volume, despite Daniel Jones and his inadequacies throwing the football. I mean, so far on the season, guys, 6.1 yards per reception. I mean, this is just abysmal stuff we're seeing from Danny Dimes, but I don't need to tell you that. I'm just going to tell you that the total, it's actually more efficient running it multiple times, and it has more to do with the Washington side and, well, Malik Neighbors being back within this offense, getting another week underneath his feet. But boy, oh boy, I can't do it right now. Under 45. I'm hoping this gets to like 45 and a half, 46. Then I can maybe have a discussion about this at even money or minus 110-ish. But under 45, I'm leaning, not a bet as of now. Here's a total that is Dallas, Atlanta, defense. Not exactly strong suit here on the Dallas side of things so far this season. Been very disappointed with them. Obviously, they've been missing pieces at time, but this is a 52 total that we're going to be staring at here. And defensively, I've got, it's wild to say, but 28th out of 32 teams in the NFL, Dallas's defense. You saw CeeDee Lamb really come alive on the offensive side of the ball for them in garbage time against San Francisco, but and that's just kind of what it was. It was complete garbage time. On the other side of this one, you have the Atlanta offense. You've now had Kyle Pitts on a streak. Don't be one of the people chasing that one. I'm going to let that one just lay low for a little bit. It's weird to see sub 50 yards on him, but yes, whatever. It was National Tight End Day. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. What does it all mean? But I got to let you know, I don't really care. It's a 3-4 Cowboys team that offensively going to try to do everything they can on the road in this one. Atlanta on the other side, 5-3, trying to really put their foot down in the NFC South. I hedged them, or not hedged them. I bet against them to start off this season, and Tampa Bay was looking awesome until the catastrophic Godwin and Evans injuries. It's just tough times, you know. Hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Kirk Cousins looked pretty darn healthy. I think this offense is going to keep on going. You should be able to jam the ball down their throat with Bijan Robinson and Mr. Tyler Algier if that's the course that you want to take. But there's at least enough here on the Cowboys side, too, where I think they keep pace. CeeDee Lamb, we haven't seen Fergie Ferg, let me love you long time go completely nuts here yet. But passing plays, I mean, we're going to see Dallas probably throw it 70% of the time. Rico Dowdle had a rumbly at his tumbly, but Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, what are the Cowboys even doing? They can't run the football, so they're going to air it out. I love points. Points. Have this north of 54 and change, 51.5. That is too low, friends. Half unit. And we reach my favorite play of the evening. New England taking on Tennessee. I don't know why I said it like that, but Tennessee, they're 3.5-point favorites at home, which is wild times to be alive, if you ask me. Like pretty darn wild. Now, we've seen Will Levis inactive the last couple. I think we continue to see Mason Rudolph start here, although it's not officially announced, which is kind of a weird thing. Will Levis has the Q tag next to him. Will Callahan, he still has him listed as questionable. We'll see how that comes to fruition. But regardless of it, the other piece is that Tajay Spears, was expected to be back this week. He had practiced after this hamstring injury. No, my friends. Ruled out. Now, before we get into the lock of things, I'll at least set the table on the New England side of things as well. You saw Drake May get dinged up with that concussion. He's officially questionable as well. I do think Tennessee's defense is pretty darn serviceable. I know it hasn't looked like it in the box score, but part of that is some really ill-opportuned turnovers from Will Levis at times. And then also, well, it's, the Tennessee defense, they've kind of gotten unlucky, I think, at times. I guess Drake May, this should be a decent spot for them. Number one in terms of passing yardage allowed, south of 152 here. And rushing defense, a little bit more gettable. You do have Ramondre Stevenson, who's been back for a couple of weeks now here since he been absent for week 6 it was. Then they played over in London against Jacksonville, played against the Jets, had himself a nice little day with 2 touchdowns, although not efficient on the ground whatsoever, like the Tennessee defense to be able to do it here. But it's a 38.5 total, a low-scoring game. However, I think the touchdown expectation for one Tony Pollard is absolutely through the roof. The guy is the only guy getting rolled out there, like the only one. Julius Chestnut, Joshua Kelly potentially could be activated off of the practice squad. I saw that he got upgraded. Chestnut really hasn't been on the field. Josh Kelly is that bigger back that could potentially take away a carry or two from Tony Pollard. But we're talking about a bell cow situation, 85, 90% of the carries. We're talking about a Mason Rudolph, who's not exactly athletic the same way that Will Levis is. I do kind of prefer to have Mason Rudolph behind center for this football game, although it's not going to change it for me here in this spot because BetMGM currently has Tony Pollard listed at minus 105, which is basically like 52% of the time you end up breaking even if he scores a touchdown in a spot, and you roll this out 100 times. I go through and I project out every touchdown, and it's a tough market from time to time because you don't get a lot of unders on touchdowns. Plus, everybody wants to take overs on touchdowns. I have the fair value at minus 160 for Tony Pollard, considering Tajay Spears. I don't really think he was going to cut into Tony Pollard's workload as is because of how good Tony Pollard's been this season. He's been a really bright spot. Calvin Ridley starting to come alive a little bit in the passing game here and having some rapport with Mason Rudolph. 15 targets, 9 targets the last 2. That is what they want to do for their premier wide receiver. And I think Tennessee's offense, if it comes alive, the defense is very stout. You could be getting some turnovers on that side of the field. I love. This is my favorite anytime touchdown that I've seen all season long. Tony Pollard, minus 105, BetMGM. If this thing isn't around minus 120, minus 125 at kickoff, I would be shocked at every single book. Every single one. This is the best value I've seen at touchdown for a long time. The Bears, the Cardinals, kind of an interesting one. And yeah, we get the afternoon window. 5 games left. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. The Bears are the Bears. I don't really think that they're all that good. And, well, the NFC North has been the best division in football. They've still won some games with their defense. I just don't think they know what they're doing calling plays here at the moment. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, you have 3 awesome wide receivers who can separate. And I think Dunze is probably one of the most underutilized wide receivers in football. Stared at his 33.5 receiving yards, 35.5 receiving yards. That's how where he's been at all week long. Haven't pulled the trigger here yet. I bet I do. So if you're listening to me now, there's a freebie for you too. But James Conner, 72.5 rushing yards for another strict, basically, bell cow. We're not really seeing a lot else getting mixed in. Trey Benson was somebody that was anticipated to cut into his workload. Nope. Other than week 4 against Washington, where they were getting obliterated, where he got 9 carries, it has been all James Conner all day. 20, 19, 18 carries. Other than the Green Bay game, where he only had 7, and again, they got obliterated in that one too. James Conner has been a wagon for this football team and hyper efficient. Still 4.3 yards per carry on the ground. That's not exactly nothing. And at home, 5.1 yards per carry. Again, super small sample size, but we're only dealing with small sample size. Got him closer to 85 yards. So 72.5 rushing yards is too low. Again, that's from a mean perspective. His median matters more for the odds for this. However, you're looking more in that high 70s, 80 type number. Feel pretty good about that for Conner on Sunday against the Bears. I hate when I have notes and I didn't throw it in on the last game. I'm just going to throw it out here. 120 yards per game. That is what the Bears are giving up on the ground, but even more so, 112 yards per game to the running back position. That was important. All right. Yeah, let's get freaking weird, shall we? Jacksonville and Philly. Jacksonville, we're waiting for some injury news, and I thought we would be without Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas, but Brian Thomas has a chance to play in this one, and that's a little bit freaky to me. Now, he's not the only one dinged up and questionable for this. Gabe Davis, their wide receiver 3, he's also listed as questionable for this one. You also have Tank Bigsby at the running back position questionable. You also have Travis Etienne with the hamstring injury. He is questionable for this one. The walking wounded for Jacksonville. That being said, a guy who also had a hamstring injury. What's going on in the NFL? Can we get these guys some water? Can we stretch a little before the game? I don't know. But Evan Ingram was stretching before the game and hurt his hamstring there in week 2, I believe it was, after a pretty quiet week 1 against Miami. But boy, he's come back to the fray, not the band. 10 targets against Chicago, overseas in London. Then you saw 5 against New England, 5 against Green Bay. If everybody's out, it's going to be the Evan Ingram show, especially because against this position, you're not exactly seeing Philly be terrible. They've been pretty good, but you're going to see him potentially get slot work. You're going to see a lot of nobodies playing out there. I mean, Devin Duvernay, he would be the guy that would potentially take over some of those outside duties. He used to be a burnster for Baltimore back in the day, but it's going to be this Washington character. What? Now, he's kind of athletic for the most part. Most NFL players are, for what it's worth. But Tim Jones, probably going to be your wide receiver too. Let's look at an Evan Ingram receptions ladder. We could legitimately see him targeted 12, 14 times in this spot against Philly. In Philly, they should be able to get whatever they want offensively. I mean, Jacksonville on the other side of this one, just giving up gobs and gobs of yardage to everything. I mean, against the pass, over 200 yards per game. Against the rush, what is that? 165 that is getting put up by the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, my God, Saquon Barkley, what a freak. Yeah, Evan Ingram or pass, because this game looks atrocious. This one is kind of interesting. Detroit, 3-point favorites going up against Green Bay. I think Jordan Love plays. Is Jordan Love right now? No, he's absolutely not. I think it's more likely that he plays. In fact, there was a report that came out about 10 minutes before I started. I didn't get to parse through it, but it did sound as though Matt LaFleur was saying, Jordan Love, I expect him to be playing unless there's a setback. I think that's the gist of what was said, but I'm going to have to take a look here again. Now, I haven't bet this, but I've been anticipating Jordan Love starting, and even if he doesn't, Malik Willis has been pretty serviceable. In fact, he has led all quarterbacks this season, north of 9 yards per reception. And then also, he's a guy that has been awesome on the ground, leading all quarterbacks in rushing expectation. Now, he's only played in 4 games that he's actually appeared in any capacity through 1 pass against Philly in week 1. I think it was just that one Hail Mary that he aired up before Jordan Love came off the field. It was at the very end of that game. And then Indy week 2, Tennessee week 3. Jordan Love came back week 4. Week 8, he came in relief duty, and he threw another touchdown there to Tucker Kraft, which was a wild, it was a great play call for what it's worth. Matt LaFleur is generally pretty good at that. But Malik Willis going to be going up against a passing defense that's 247 yards per game, 27th. That'd be weird if there were 250 teams. This is like D1 football. But I do expect Jordan Love is probably going to be your starter. If it ends up being Malik Willis, though, that's the main reason that I hadn't ended up betting this, because I thought there was a chance it could move to 3.5. And I would probably jump on the Green Bay side in that situation here too. So if you're hearing this, Green Bay +3, I think, is a decent play as it stands right now, but I'm going to kind of wait for a little bit more confirmation. If you want to keep this off the card, I'm all right with that too. We're going to have tons of prop exposure and a single game parlay coming up next. Oh no. The Rams in Seattle, and this game has unbelievable stuff that you can do to potentially maximize your upside. Now, the books have been pretty cautious in rolling out lines here. However, if you were in tails today, which I'll talk about here before we get to Sunday Night Football, you saw a single game parlay show up on my card from DraftKings.com because they rolled out Cooper Kupp, Colby Parkinson, and Demarcus Robinson props. Now, let's take you back to Thursday. Puka Nacua, who ended up smashing last Thursday against my Minnesota Vikings, played a ton more than what Sean McVay was alluding to, had 9 targets, 7 catches, 106 yards. I mean, how bad do my Vikings run to have to deal with Kupp and Nacua for the first time together in the same Thursday night game? I'm going to say that wasn't an ideal setting, and on a short week, Sean McVay knew exactly what he was doing. They've had some extra rest, though, and then this Thursday, Puka Nacua hurts the same knee in practice, leaves early. He's listed as questionable for this game. Sean McVay did say, I would expect that Puka Nacua plays. In fact, I believe the exact quote was something that he wouldn't bet against Nacua playing. Well, I'm going to bet against Sean McVay being truthful ever in his damn dirty life. This guy, I love him as a football coach. Very, very good at it. Probably, if you go to Coach Speak Index, which is a fantastic Twitter follow or X follow, however Elon wants me to address it, I love Coach Speak Index. And, well, Sean McVay is routinely in the red because he's a damn dirty liar, and you can't take anything he says at face value. So what do we do about it? DraftKings currently still has Cooper Kupp. Now, it's gone up a little bit, 68.5 from where it was at 64.5 earlier. Demarcus Robinson, 28.5, and Parkinson, 28.5. I single game parlayed all 3 of them together, plus 575, because if Nacua is limited or out, that is just a smash against a Seattle defense that there is tons of opportunity here for Matt Stafford and company to throw it around the lot. Now, rushing defense-wise, they've been even worse, 29th, 150 yards per game. You just saw James Cook go ballistic against them last week. But I look at NFL ELO, I'm just having all of a devil of a time not figuring out how this is an extremely positive EV. So give me Kupp. Pay attention, 5.5 receptions, his pick'em site numbers as well. Really like that one. But Kupp plus Robinson plus Parkinson, I want the single game parlays going into this one in the positive. Now, I shorted everybody last time when we saw that Nacua was probably going to be activated. I ended up shorting these exact same 3 together in the same parlay. And the only one who didn't hit was Robinson, who had 2 catches, both of them touchdowns, and went over just barely his yardage prop, which was just an egregious number for what it's worth. So, love myself this single game parlay. It's still at the inflated number, decent enough to get to. Read the tea leaves before Sunday. I think there's a ton that you can mine out by going either direction. Again, if you think Nacua is going to play all the time, go ahead and short them on the other side at some of the inflated numbers. One more time for the people in the back, we've got my Tails package you can get for free by signing up, depositing, and playing with any of our partners. Pick them on the left, Sportsbooks on the right, rebet at the bottom. Tons of ways that you can get 1 free month of premium Tails package. Now, you have to do these 4 simple steps. It's super easy, super quick. One of our promos. Number 2, sign up with an offer and deposit and place a bet. Because again, you want to be playing over there and take advantage of the offers. Please, that's a huge part of this. Take screenshots of your welcome email and first settle bet, and then support at OddsShopper.com. They'll hook you up. They'll give you a month of me free. That is an awesome opportunity. Would love to see you there. That is all. One more game, Sunday Night Football. Let's break it down. I could just say that everybody runs against Indy, and you should know that by now, and that would kind of be the end of it. 31st in terms of the NFL against the neutral rush rate. Unbelievable. But yeah, anyway, Indy plus 5.5 taking on Minnesota. Anthony Richardson has been benched. He's been sent to the Shadow Realm. That helps the shootout potential, 46.5. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. I thought about a Josh Downs ladder immediately. However, these have all adjusted to Joe Flacco being the main guy out there. Now, he's been very, very good at throwings of the footballs. The Delaware product, the former of the, he's been with a lot of teams here now at this point in time. Gotta like it, though. Gotta love it. Gotta get some more of it. It's just Minnesota here with the full ensemble. TJ Hawkinson coming back to party with us. I can't wait to see Hawk Daddy, Hawk Tua. It's going to be beautiful. Although That'd be a weird nickname because he hasn't played football since she became relevant, but whatever. She's throwing out first pitches at Mets game. Her life is probably better than ours at this point. She's got Pookie. I hate that I know that. Fuck, goddamn it. Anyway, Aaron Jones, he's been number 3 in PFF grading. He's been absolutely electric, boogie, woogie, woogie. And on a short week, yes, on a short week, Kevin O'Connell showed no regard against the Rams. Only 2 snaps on the offensive end for Ty Chandler. That was a little surprising to me on a short week. But Aaron Jones is probably a lot healthier than what we were leading on coming into that bye week. In the last 2 weeks, it's just all systems go here. I don't see how this isn't just a smash. I probably should have locked this, but I already locked a prop previous, and I like it more. It does grade out better for what it's worth. The Tony Pollard one north of -160 for an anytime touchdown. -105 is where his current line is. This one, it's just as straightforward as it goes. Aaron Jones, 70-plus rushing yards, over 69.5, over 72.5, over 74.5. I don't really care where it is sitting at for you here. I've got him well north of 80. Let me find exactly what the number is. 87. There you go. That's a lot more. That's like locked territory, but showing a little bit of caution because Sunday Night Football, lots that can break here in terms of news throughout the day. Plus, want to focus on that main slate. I'll let you know everything that I end up firing up on Sunday. Entails, no doubt about it. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Check out Bet365. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on the board. Again, you can sign up for that down below. Bet365. You can sign up for Tails. Would love to see you there. All right, that's pretty much it. Long video. I get it. I talk a lot, but want to give you all the information, the nuance, and hey, hopefully can be entertaining once in a while. Hit that like button for me on the way out. Thank you, producer Jacob. Until next time, friends, Monday Night Football, obviously. We'll break that one down to finish out week 9. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets on Sunday.